welcome back to another episode of Addicted to Gear. I'm Tony, and as you already know, I'm addicted to gear. And by looking around here, you can see that I'm not in my usual location. I'm actually on the road today, and I figured if I'm gonna be stuck in traffic, I might as well do something productive and shoot a quick little video for everyone out there and take you along for the ride. So I'm gonna apologize in advance for the potholes and the shaky cam, because the streets here are just horrendous, but we're going to try to make the best of it. Today I wanted to talk to you about something that a lot of people have been asking me, and that is how to get the best deal out there on guitars, right? And we all know that the prices are all going up. Everything gets more expensive every day, and the best deals to be had are often found on the used market. So if you haven't already been shopping on the used market, shame on you. You should definitely be doing that, because I'd say 99% of my deals, my guitars, are purchased used. Unless there's something very specific that I can't get elsewhere, that I can't find on the used market, and I have to order it, or special order it from a store. I usually don't like to pay premium dollars for something that's going to lose value very, very fast. So I highly recommend the used market. Now, that being said, that's nothing new. That's not not news breaking or anything like that. However, I want to share something with you. There are a couple of well-known brands, and these brands are not shabby brands. They're brands that make very good quality guitars, that are better deals than others, simply because they don't hold their value very well on the used market. So as a buyer, a first-time buyer that's buying these guitars new, that's a bad thing, right? Because you're going to be losing a lot of money off the initial investment that you made. But for the second-hand buyer, that's a fantastic deal, because you're getting a good quality guitar, very well made, and for a lot less than you would be getting it from a store. So let's get started. On my list, the first guitar that I want to talk about is PRS, Paul Reed Smith. Everyone knows these guitars by now. They've made a very good reputation for themselves. Good quality control, excellent construction and everything else. But everybody also knows that they're very expensive. You can easily pay over $3,000 and upwards of $3,000 for one. So not everyone can afford a PRS guitar, and I totally get that. But if you have the ability to save your cash, my recommendation is save your money, be patient, keep your eye open on the used market, because PRS guitars are quite popular on the used market, and there's a lot of them floating around, and you will eventually find the model that you want, and you can seriously save a ton of money. I have 2 PRS guitars. I had 3 at one point, and I bought them all used, and my favorite one of all of them, I paid under $2,000 for, and this guitar is probably selling for $3,500 right now today. So fantastic savings right there, and it's a great, one of my favorite guitars. So PRS guitars, number 1. Number 2, G&L. G&L is a brand that was started by Leo Fender. For those of you who don't know this already, when Leo sold Fender basically to CBS, he decided he didn't want to retire, and he decided to start another company called G&L. He went back to making guitars the old-fashioned way, which basically meant small runs, handmade guitars, for the most part made in the USA, great quality, and they were still great value. Now, after Leo passed away, the brand survived without him, but it never really took off, never really became a mainstream brand like Fender or Gibson or whatever. But the company is well known for good quality guitars, making good quality US made guitars. Since then, they've moved their production to overseas, so they have both US and overseas models. The overseas models are a lot less expensive. Now, the American versions of G&L guitars are fantastic. even the overseas versions, if you ask me. But if you keep your eyes open, you can get a really good quality Strat or Telecaster from G&L on the used market, and you can pay it, you know, a lot less than what you would be getting it brand new from the company. Great quality guitars that will last you a lifetime. They play great. So by all means, keep your eyes open for G&L guitars. Great deals to be had there. Number 3 on my list is Tokai. Tokai is a brand that became famous for making good quality knockoffs, and primarily they make good quality Les Paul knockoffs as well as Strat knockoffs. And if you buy a Tokai guitar, specifically the ones that are made in Japan, you're gonna get a fantastic quality instrument at a lot less than you would pay for a Gibson Les Paul. And the quality is pretty much on par with their higher end Japanese models. And a lot of people don't know this, but it's starting to become common knowledge now. So when they pop up on the used market, you really have to grab them quick, because they don't usually last very long, especially the Japanese ones. You have to be careful, however, because they do have Chinese and Korean models, which are not up to par with the US quality Gibsons, but the Japanese ones surely are. So if you have an opportunity to pick one up, you could probably get a good quality Les Paul style guitar for about between $600 and $800, which is a real bargain. Number 3 on my list is Music Man guitars. Music Man guitars, based in the US, have been around for a long time. I guess they became very popular, or more popular, when Eddie Van Halen started to endorse their guitars. And you know, they definitely saw a boom there. And that Music Man guitar, which I had at one point, was a great guitar. I can't speak for the other ones, but that one was a fantastic playing guitar. The neck on that guitar felt wonderful. Really, really good quality. And unfortunately, those guitars sell for over $2,000, $2,500. So they're very expensive. But the good news is that when you buy them used, you're basically getting a guitar that you can pick up, which normally would sell for $2,000, for about $900. That's what I paid anyway. Great quality guitar, and you're saving, you know, more than half of the cost right there. So that's a really good bargain to be had there. And finally on my list, the last one is Squier Classic Vibes. Those guitars are considered to be a little bit more budget line guitars, like lower end than Fender, but they are well-made guitars, and they're great for, you know, the practicing musician, somebody that's not necessarily pro, although you can be pro and use the guitars without any issues. A lot of times they're considered lower end, so, you know, entry level maybe, and they normally sell for about $500 or $600. But the quality on these guitars are really, really good, and I purchased a couple myself, and I was very, very pleased with them. They were very, very good in terms of what you get for the money. And on the used market, you can easily pay less than half of what you would normally pay for a Squier Classic Vibe. I would stay away from the other ones, the Affinities. They're not as good, but the Classic Vibes are awesome. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you today. I hope you appreciate this video, and I hope you can save some money just like I did. And thank you for tuning in for the on the road edition of Addicted to Gear, and hopefully you'll be subscribing to my channel, because there's going to be more great information that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. So thank you, and see you soon. Keep rocking and stay tuned.